Again from DPL Surveillance Equipment. I'm doing my 5-mile walk out here on this trail, and it seems like it's 82, 83 degrees out here. Some areas are warm where you actually walk in the sun, in the open sun on the trail. Then some areas are shaded. Got a slight wind blowing. You can hear the clanking and clunking of my water bottle against my cell phone holder or belt buckle, whatever is bumping up against. In addition to my feet crunching through the leaves and the branches. Just want to let you know, because it's going to be, slight bit of noise in the background. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. I'll try to talk, speak up and enunciate and at a decent volume. So you can actually hear me. You'll probably hear me slip and fall if I'm not careful. But anyway, who am I? I'm Monty Henry, owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment. We're a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. We have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products, 24/7, 365, tech sales and customer support. The largest inventory of items, and not only can you buy, but you can rent as well, and layaway. And we have an extremely large media center, otherwise known as the video library, articles directory. Besides the articles directory, we have podcasts like the one that I'm going to record now, and blogs, and just a lot of content. Basically, we probably have more content than a lot of especially spy companies or surveillance equipment companies on the internet or offline for that matter. So yeah, go and check out the multimedia that we offer, all the content. You'll be spending weeks, if not months, just absorbing information. We cover health and fitness. We cover security, surveillance and security, surveillance, counter-surveillance, anti-terrorist technology, anti-terrorism, related information, how to stay safe, blah, blah, blah. We cover Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, believe it or not. We also cover, what else? Personal health protection. You name it, just goes on and on and on in terms of the topics that we cover. I just believe in being multidisciplined in terms of not being just good in one area, but hopefully absorbing as much information in a lot of different areas, mainly because a lot of things, believe it or not, are related. How do you not connect health and fitness with financial independence? What good is it to be financially independent or wealthy with the worst health on the planet? You're not going to enjoy your wealth, right? So they probably go hand in hand. Education. How do you translate or communicate your success in any particular field to younger people or people that want to, quite possibly benefit from your knowledge if you're not able to communicate and educate those people that want to learn from you? So hopefully some of this makes sense in terms of these correlations and how things are connected in one way or the other. What else is going on? Oh, yeah. I revamped the website, and I want you guys to take a look at it, and I want you to give me some feedback and let me know what you think. We hired a top-notch developer to make sure that this website loads quickly, easy to navigate, that you can find the products, that you can see all the information, even on your mobile phone or your iPad or whatever smart device you use. We want to make sure it's optimized. And it looks like Google is indeed indexing and not labeling us as mobile unfriendly. I think before I redesigned the website, or before I had it done, there was mentions of the website not being very mobile friendly. So I think we've addressed that completely and hopefully got that behind us. We're focusing on Bitcoin as a payment choice now. As I keep telling you guys, if you haven't heard before, I'll tell you again, We're trying to get away from MasterCard and Visa and American Express type of transactions. We don't want the chargebacks. We don't want disputes. We don't want someone talking about, I called my bank and I canceled the transaction, but I didn't get a chance to call you or email you. I was too busy. And if you didn't answer the phone in 5 minutes or less or something, the first time, or answer an email in 10 minutes or less or whatever, then, that's why I canceled my transaction. In other words, the transaction just got pretty stupid and pretty depressing as far as listening to all the nonsense from the customers using credit cards. They seem to be doing more harm than good, so we're going to take another look at the alternatives. The Bitcoin as a payment choice, wire transfers, checks, money orders, cashier checks. Those are going to be the preferred payment methods, and eventually there's not going to be any other choice except transactions that cannot be reversed. Okay, I know the economy is bad and things are slow or something, but we don't need to be the victims of people playing around with their credit cards and such. So anyway, what else is going on? Let's see. I think that covers everything as far as I can remember. Unless something else comes up, I'll interrupt the article that I want to focus on. And so let's get into the article. What is going on with the article? I'm African American, okay? And I'm always on the lookout for ventures, entrepreneurs, people who are starting businesses owned hopefully by blacks and African Americans. I'm always interested in that. Okay, I'm a little biased. I will admit it. If our people can get more businesses, take responsibility for ownership of these enterprises, not so much being an employee, not so much being a manager, but actually own things, I'm all for that. Speaking of such, let's get into the article. Kevin Durant, famous basketball player, which a few of you know about. Will Smith, famous actor, a few of you have probably heard of him. They topped the lineup for a new venture capital fund for black investors. Okay, I'll repeat it again. Kevin Durant, Will Smith topped the lineup for a new venture capital fund for black investors. Silicon Valley stalwart Andreessen Horowitz launches new fund in an effort to boost diversity and technology. Now, just to give you a little bit of background, most of Silicon Valley is not black. Has nothing to do with blacks. No representation. The people who write the checks, the people who look at the startups that we want to bring into the market and whatever. Most of the people who make the decisions as far as the funding are not black, and that's a major problem, especially in Silicon Valley, where most of the deals are based upon who you know and not so much what you know, okay? 29 of the investing partners, none of the 29 investing partners in the Andreessen Horowitz fund are black, okay? So that's a problem. Andreessen Horowitz is actually putting or working with Will Smith, Kevin Durant, and an individual by the name of Richelieu Dennis. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Richelieu Dennis. He is a magazine publisher. He owns, I think, Essence Magazine, and he's investing alongside Kevin Durant and Will Smith. So we got three big power players, very well-known athletes, celebrities, and such, magazine publisher, that are starting this new venture fund for African Americans or black people. They're going to only contribute $15 million so far. Now, this fund is still open to investors, So it's hard to determine what the criteria was in selecting these limited partners like Will Smith, Kevin Durant, and Richard Lou Dennis. And maybe they're going to add more money. Hopefully they'll definitely expand the number of limited partners. But the good news is, for better or for worse, Andreessen Horowitz is a major Silicon Valley titan, and they are major investors in a lot of the startups and a lot of the tech companies that we interact with and work with and buy from every single day on the internet, for instance. And they have a lot of experience. They are world-class investors, and they know how to spot opportunity, especially in technology. The Andreessen Horowitz fund that's going to be overseeing the Culture Fund, and that's the name of the investment fund. This new venture capital fund is called Culture, and again, that's being run by Will Smith, Kevin Durant, and Richard Lou Dennis. So, having the opportunity or the advantage to invest alongside a $1.5 billion fund run by Andreessen Horowitz really should allow us to, and I say us because a lot of us could very well benefit from having more opportunities for investment capital. My company is no longer a startup company, and I'm not so much looking for investment capital anymore, only because I've spent so much time trying to get investor capital, trying to get partners and such, and that hasn't worked out so well. And believe it or not, my investments have done a lot better as far as making us financially independent than the business, which is ironic. But, I got a lot of experience investing, and the business has had its years where it brought in some very good money, my business, and so it helped provide the seed money definitely for my investment efforts. But getting back to this new venture capital fund called Culture, run by Kevin Durant, Will Smith, and Richard Lou Dennis, owner of Essence Magazine. What they're doing right now is they're looking for startups run by African Americans. And hopefully, once they identify these startups, and I'm pretty sure this is the way it's going to work, Culture is going to identify these potential opportunities for Andreessen Horowitz to look at and quite possibly help fund and provide some leadership in the way of getting these projects off the ground. So just a little bit of background. I'm pretty sure that because IPOs have not been experiencing the rapid growth that they have been as of late, and ICOs, or initial coin offerings in the Bitcoin space or cryptocurrency space, have drawn so much regulatory scrutiny that, venture capitalists are looking elsewhere for opportunity. So between sluggish growth in the IPO space and too much regulation in the ICO space, and not to mention, a sluggish economy overall, I think that's probably the impetus for venture funds like Andreessen Horowitz Fund to start looking at where the next spurt of growth and opportunity is going to come from. And as far as I can tell, they're finally looking at the African American black space to make absolutely sure that they don't miss out on the opportunity to keep growing and rewarding their investors. So, you fellow black entrepreneurs, you better take a look at your own operations, things that you run, things that you own, and start to figure out who you're going to be working with and how to shore up your own companies so that when some of these venture capitalists come knocking, you will be able to articulate clearly and concisely, hopefully, what you're trying to accomplish, how you're going to accomplish it, and what you need to grow your businesses. Some of the people that are also in this space you should be aware of, okay? Um, for instance, I think Kevin Durant calls his company, what is it, Durant Company? Mr. Durant, let's see. Let me see. I think he calls it Durant Company. I'll have to see if I can find it in a minute. But there's a few choices out there, definitely. They get more and more every day. Here's a paragraph that's going to reveal some information. There's an athlete by the name of, I'll just read it to you. Athletes have always had an entrepreneurial spirit, said Ryan Neese, managing partner of Next Play Capital, a Redwood City, California-based venture capital investing platform. But they are increasingly steering their investment toward technology companies, said Mr. Neese, who played professional football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 7 years. So it looks like Ryan Neese, N-E-C-E, he has his Next Play Capital based out of Redwood City, California. Carmelo Anthony, who is an NBA player, which a number of you are already familiar with, as far as him being a fantastic player. He formed a venture capital firm called Mellow 7 Tech Partners, LLC, in 2013. More recently, in 2016, Kobe Bryant launched a $100 million fund after he retired from the Los Angeles Lakers. Other high-profile celebrities have established venture funds as well. Earlier this summer, rapper Jay-Z founded Marcy Venture Funds. There was a Baron Davis. He's a tech investor and former NBA player. I'm not quite sure what the name of his firm is, but there's a few that are definitely putting money into this space, and they're trying to make sure we have some opportunities to grow our own businesses. Ben Horowitz, he's a founding partner at Andreessen Horowitz. He served on the boards of nonprofits that help get black students into technology and source the firm's investments in startups founded by black entrepreneurs such as Walker and Company, a health and beauty company for people of color that's based in Palo Alto, California, and Maven. I'm not quite sure what that is. Maven, that's another company. Maven, an Oakland, California-based hair extension company, known in the community for his affinity for hip hop. Mr. Horowitz frequently quotes lyrics from rap songs and has been seen socializing with rappers including Kanye West and Nas. Despite the fact that he can quote lyrics from rap songs and that he's rubbing elbows with these people, we just need to make absolutely sure, in all sincerity, that we, as much as possible, take advantage of these opportunities. We have some celebrities, some athletes, and entrepreneurs that have done very well for themselves, and they're starting up these venture capital funds. And it looks like even if it's a $15 million fund run by Culture, or if it's a $100 million fund run by Kobe Bryant, we need to make sure that we understand that these people are looking for opportunities in the black and African American communities. Kevin Durant's company is called Durant Company, an investment vehicle targeting tech startups. A spokesman for him didn't respond to requests for comment. Okay, I'm not quite sure whether or not Kevin Durant is actually targeting specifically African Americans or not. A lot of these guys, more likely, are going to be open-minded. To be honest, they just want to be a part of the next Facebook or Twitter or Amazon or whatever it is. But I'm telling you guys, a lot of us do not own as much as we should be owning. We're renting, we're leasing, we're borrowing, but we're not owning. So make sure you understand the difference. And as one person pointed out, who was that? Baron Davis. when he was asked about the fund, he said he isn't involved and he prefers to encourage wealthy black individuals to be active investors. I may get in trouble for saying this. This is Baron Davis. He said, but it's always great when white guys want to do something for black athletes and black entertainers, right? Question mark. He said, for me, it's more so about finding the guys who want to participate in actually building something that can be an institution that's for us and not an institution that somebody else owns that's just making us rich. And see, that's a very important statement, mainly because, there's a number of rich people, right? Being rich is sort of like accomplishing a whole lot, but having wealth typically means that generations, in your generations of your people and of your own family are going to be taken care of. Okay, when you have generational wealth and wealth in general, that typically means you're not going to be spending that wealth that you've accumulated anytime soon. You're not going to be spending it all. So let's try to remember that when you become rich, you can buy yachts, you can buy Lamborghinis, you can party like it's 1999. But when you're wealthy, you typically are going to have staying power for decades at least. For 100 years, your name is going to be etched in the history books, and that wealth is going to be there alongside the notables like the Rockefellers, hopefully, or the Morgans, or the some of the more notable families. You name it. Even the Gates are going to be remembered for a long time, and more than likely, Bezos will be etched in the history books as well. But that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a certain amount of permanence, not this flash in the pan wealth that a lot of people get used to. But you want wealth that's going to stand the test of time, and it's going to be integrated into whatever industry so well that it'll be very hard to not use your name as a noun. Like, I think it's like Xerox, Xerox this or Google that or something like that. That's really when you know that you've made a major difference. When people refer to you or your company or your operations like that. But anyway, this is an article that I thought was timely, very, very relative to what we're trying to accomplish in the black community. Keep an eye on culture. Make sure that if you own a business or going to start a business or something, or you know of a business owned by African Americans or whatever, you may want to make sure that they get a hold of this article, this information. Keep an eye on culture. Keep an eye on Kobe Bryant's $100 million fund, or even Carmelo Anthony's Melo 7 LLC. Or some of the others that we've mentioned, Kevin Durant Company. All these are actually venture funds that are looking to help jumpstart the next major player in the internet or offline, doesn't matter. The opportunities can be more than likely wide-ranging, and who knows who's going to be the next billionaire or something that's going to make a major difference, particularly in the African American community. So anyway, I want to just run this by you, and hopefully, even my company, we'll start to see the type of customer that actually has the discretionary income that we were used to seeing. I think about 10 years ago, it wasn't unusual to do very well in that economic environment. And the type of customer profile that I'm seeing right now is just not cutting it. So maybe in the African American community, we can get some people to patronize my type of business and remind me that there are some people who have discretionary income and they can afford to buy Things that are relatively expensive shouldn't be that expensive, because when your income is decent and you have more discretionary income, then you can afford more. But if you don't have it, then of course you get into the haggling, you get into the credit card problems, you get into all that other garbage that I'm trying to avoid. So hopefully you can read between the lines and understand what I mean. So anyway, let's go, guys. Let's take advantage of this opportunity and see what we can do to create a different type of economic stimulus for us, by us, and with us. All right? Like he said, Mr. Baron Davis, he said, we want to own the institution. Okay? So like I always say at the conclusion of every podcast, keep your eyes and ears open and stay safe out there. Okay? Have a great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye.